Welcome back to Peek into COS. Today, I'm joined by Caroline Turco and Doug Mudd from the Edward C. Rochette Money Museum. Caroline, Doug, it's great to both have you here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, all right, so before we get too deep into things, let's talk about what your roles are at the museum and, talk a little bit about how long you've been there.
Okay. Well, Doug, I think you should go first.
Yes, I've been there for 21 years. I got an opportunity. I had worked at the Smithsonian. I was given the offer to be the director and curator of a money museum, and I'd been doing this already for 13 years. It was very exciting. So I came out and began to work on a lot of different exhibits over the years.
Well, you just you could mic drop the Smithsonian because that could, but what Smithsonian did you work at?
I worked at the Museum of Natural History to start with, and I worked on a bunch of collections, moving them from the old museum to the ultra-modern storage facilities. Basically the stuff that nobody wanted to look at really soon. And then I moved over to the Museum of American History, where I worked at the National Numismatic Collection and got a fabulous background and just unbelievable working with a million coins as a possibility and all that stuff.
So how fortunate are we in Colorado Springs to have someone like yourself with that kind of a background bringing that to this museum? I mean, I knew you had been here a while, but I didn't realize the Smithsonian piece of it. So that's wonderful. Caroline, how about you?
Nothing like that. So I was an opera singer for about a decade early in my career. And then, different things in life. My husband is military, so we move around a lot. And I started a history podcast when COVID hit because I combined my love of vocalizing and my love of history. Then from there, when we moved to Colorado Springs, I applied, and he took a chance. Doug took a chance on me, which was very nice. Yeah. But I am a pretty decent general historian with a love of telling stories. And I find the challenge of something that might to some people seem so ordinary or unimportant to make them fall in love with the history or the story or the essential depth of that to humanity.
Sure.
Just an amazing experience. So making people fall in love with history just couldn't be better.
Well, and Caroline, I would just say for people who are listening, military spouses make up a really big part of our workforce.
They do.
And it's wonderful that you've brought this passion, and we're going to bring it to the museum. Money Museum. We're going to talk about that today. But it's wonderful that you're. I have to share a quick story with you. My wife, Kathy, recently was standing in a line somewhere, and there was a retired military veteran behind her, and the line wasn't moving too very fast. And so, as he was giving her background, Kathy said, "Thank you for your service." And he looked at her and he said, "You're welcome. You were worth it."
Oh, that's so cute.
And Kathy said,
"That's adorable. What a great response."
That's what she said.
Because I'll tell you, my husband never knows what to say, and I am like fourth generation military, and that's great.
Well, I'm just sharing it for what it's worth, because she came home to tell me, and I'm sharing that now because But thank you, and that's all yours, and you can give that to your husband, and
I will. Yes.
Feel free to use it.
And it wasn't much of a risk once I got to interview Caroline because her background knowledge, I think, partly on opera was great.
Languages and time,
we're the Money Museum, but we're not just a money museum. We actually use money to tell history.
Yes.
Which is very different.
Very.
And so we're going to have some fun with this, because one of our objectives in Peek into COS is to have people understand about this attraction, what it means to, in this case, history. I mean, we've done these on the Pioneers Museum. We've done, some great podcasts. But today, it sounds like we're really going to have a chance to let both residents and visitors know about things that they can learn historically and how money does tell a story. And so we know how you got here. You're military and got transferred here. Doug, when you left the Smithsonian, did you come here specifically to work at the Money Museum?
Yes, I got an offer
Got recruited?
Yeah, I was recruited,
Yes.
and basically I was at the Smithsonian as a collection manager. I'd been working there for years. I was doing curatorial work, but the opportunities there, especially in a department that only had 3 people by the time I left, were minuscule, and I wanted the chance to actually be responsible for exhibits and things, because that's what made me get into this field in the first place. The idea that I was terrified of being a teacher because I didn't want to be stuck with, mid-career and bored students.
Right.
But
Never.
being able to see the light go on as somebody looks at an exhibit and go, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
That was what really got me going. So I got to do more than I expected to start with. We were changing exhibits basically
Okay.
3 times a year for a while.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, so let's first make sure we don't not tell people where the museum is located.
818 North Cascade Avenue, right on Colorado College campus and closing up into downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have parking,
And
which
we're
is a
n-
big deal.
Yeah.
And we're not the FAC, because we're right next to the Fine Arts
Yeah,
Center.
right next to
and
the Fine Arts Center.
And it looks like it's part of the building, and we have people coming both ways. They go to there and looking for us, and
Yeah.
the other way around.
So for those of you who are visitors, you're downtown Colorado Springs, just a little north,
Yeah.
right there at the Colorado College campus. So, Caroline, how would you describe the museum to somebody who you're just laying it out there? What would you tell them?
I really like the acronym of CASH. That
CASH.
the money tells the story of culture, art, science, and history.
Yeah.
So it's a really special medium where there is something for everyone. And we try to encompass that both within the museum itself and within individual exhibits. That if you are someone that's fascinated by different cultures, we've got you. You want to talk about why Chinese money looks different? I'm ready. We've got the history of money downstairs, where you can understand why they didn't use gold and silver up until the 20th century. And then if you're interested in art, you can look at some of the most accomplished artists of their day, and they are making coins.
Okay.
That was one of the few mediums available up until very recently in terms of the history of humanity to use your artistic talents. And then science. Why do we alloy different metals together? How do we create it? And we have a mini mint in our lower gallery that shows you how in 1792 the first U.S. mint made coins. No electricity, no steam power. This is the power of the screw press, basically.
okay.
But we can show you that scientific understanding, talk about friction, talk about, how that kind of mechanical engineering works. And then there's history. And
Yeah.
history is so exciting to tell because humanity has needed money to have any type of international trade and the exchange of ideas from nearly the beginning.
Yeah.
And so trade is what allows us to become the very interesting and robust and kaleidoscope of cultures that we are today.
Diverse cultures and everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. Doug, tell us a little bit about who Edward C. Rochette was.
Yes. Well, Edward C. Rochette initially was a journalist, and he worked for an organization called Krause Publications, and he got very involved in numismatics because Krause was big into producing books on collecting coins, studying coins and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he got more and more involved with the American Numismatic Association to the point where over a career of more than 50 years, he went from starting our summer seminar program, which is an amazingly successful thing, to becoming head of the education department, and then becoming president, well, actually the executive director of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just a very important person in the history of the ANA, particularly in Colorado Springs.
Wow. So what does the ANA do?
So the American Numismatic Association, so it's numismatic is the study of coins, medals, paper money, and all that. It's been around since 1891, and what it does is join diverse. Originally, it was designed to join clubs across a nation into
Coin
a
clubs.
single
Coin clubs, yeah.
organization, so that there was a voice for all coin clubs and, by extension, the hobby of coin collecting. Partly, it was to be a voice in Congress, because we used to have a very strong
Lobby,
voice
right?
to basically talk about taxes and buying and selling coins and all that stuff. But it was mainly to get collectors together at the national level and show off their coins to each other.
Yeah.
And it turned into, we have the largest numismatic convention held in the country every year in August timeframe. And
How big is it?
we currently have about 28,000 members. They cover most of our members, probably 93 or 4% are in the United States, but we have people all over the world.
And we have a lot of different departments. We do a lot of different things. So we obviously have the museum, which was created in large part to show off a collection that had been developing over a century.
Okay.
And additionally, we have publications. We put out a monthly magazine called The Numismatist,
Okay.
and that goes out to all of our members, and it explores little known moments about numismatic history. It shows beautiful images of masterpiece coins or masterpiece medals and paper money, and it also acts as a way for them to get to know other people that might be collecting the same thing as them across the country whom they might not know to connect with otherwise.
Okay.
We have a membership department that makes sure that our membership gets something special out of their relationship with the ANA, and we have an education department that uses different platforms to educate adults and children based on their interests.
Cool.
So that you can, if you're a kid and you want to learn more about coin collecting, we got you.
That's
If you're
great.
a 45-year-old guy and you're really interested in this one type of coin, we can help you with that too.
All right, Caroline, let's keep going on. We've just gotten out of the car. And
Okay.
we are now approaching the museum.
I'd go up the ramp if I were you.
Going up the ramp?
Yes, let's
Okay.
do it, and then
So
through the front doors.
we're through the front doors. And let's talk about the visitor experience.
Okay.
What can people, and as you describe this, certainly talk about adults, but talk about kids too.
Yeah.
So
It is
talk
a
about the
family.
experience.
It's
Yeah.
a family museum,
Okay, yeah.
and that is the goal. So when you come in, you are greeted by our lovely receptionist, and the first thing she does is, if there are any kids, ask if they want to do our treasure trivia,
Okay.
where at the end you can earn a prize, whether or not you got all the answers correct. You can earn a prize that is, of course, some sort of a fun coin or token or something, and that is meant to engage kids because it is a harder subject, I think, especially for real littles. But we have 4 main exhibit spaces. We have a temporary exhibit that we have just updated to be the Silk Road.
Right.
So this is talking about 1,500 years of international global trade. We have the Americana Gallery that's also available in our upper galleries. And that Americana is the history of America told through its money. How hard it was to start up a nation that didn't have any natural precious metals. And at a time where money is worth its weight in gold and valued as such,
Yeah.
not having gold was a big problem.
Yes.
And that is why we established the first successful paper money.
Right.
Yay, us. And then in our lower galleries, we have a kid zone, which is really fun. Right now, it houses a 12-foot in diameter felt yurt, because obviously with the Silk Road going on, we
Yeah.
wanted kids to have that, and it tells the story of barter through pictograms. We have lots of different stuffed animals of foods and animals that traveled the Silk Road that kids can actually learn about barter and trade, and we also have books and games and other things in there, some drawing
and
opportunities.
a fire that the
Oh,
kids
we do
have
have
not
a-
left alone. It's
Yeah.
actually been pulled apart and all that stuff. I'm not sure
Our
why.
stuffy campfire is very popular, and you wondered why I wanted it.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then we have the history of money as well. So that is a very comprehensive exhibit that starts with the very first coins ever made in ancient Lydia, 600 BC, and walks you all the way through the development of coinage in multiple different parts of the world, up to modern polymer notes. And we've got it all. Plus we have our mini mint where we give demonstrations about how money is made and talk about the different styles based on the different technologies available.
I love that. Okay, so Doug, let me ask you this: when somebody is talking to you, let's say they don't know what you do, okay? You just meet somebody and you tell them what you do, and why would you say, or how would you answer the question, why the Money Museum is so important?
That's good.
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's one of the things that does come up.
Mm-hmm.
So when people come to the Money Museum, often if they don't have any experience with it beforehand, there are the people that are collectors and they expect to see rows of U.S. nickels and dollars and dimes with all the different varieties
Right.
based on date. And we're not that museum.
Right.
Oh, thank
What,
goodness.
what we are is a museum that uses money to get people to understand our history better,
Mm-hmm.
because people think they know something about history and they identify with that. They really don't identify with money. We don't look at our money the way people look at other types of things. But one of the very first things you see when you get to a new country is their money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start
Yeah.
looking at it and understanding what it says, you realize, oh, well, this country has pictures of one man and they're all over the place. Probably a dictatorship or a monarchy or something like that.
Right.
Or they show development or they show artists, and you get a sense of what a country's like.
Mhm.
We tend to forget that. So what I tell people is this is a museum where you're going to see a lot of stories.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They're going to be based on the money to tell you something about what you know. Like our Civil War exhibit was extremely popular.
Mm.
You know, several levels that showed you different things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, why did the North win? Always a big question. And it wasn't because they had more men and equipment. It was because they were actually better organized money-wise,
Financially.
financially.
How about that? That's
Yeah.
cool.
So that's the kind of thing. So I try to pose it as a surprise for most people of
Mhm.
the things that you will learn are in different areas than you think. It's not just about how much it costs to buy something
Right.
or how much money is worth now versus 10 years ago or something.
Well, we are recording this in 2025, summer of, and one of the things that's been in the news lately is the penny.
No, you don't say.
Yes.
I know.
No,
And
no one has. No, I'm kidding. The
Yeah.
Money Museum has received many a call.
Yeah, and so I guess, you know, not that we've got all afternoon to talk about this, but I mean, since we're a lot about history, we've talked about that. So with the phasing out or the elimination of the penny, and what do you think that means to the museum?
Well, that's an interesting question because collectors, so our base audience, our collectors, are generally against the idea of getting rid of a penny. It's a traditional form of money.
Yeah.
We can't get rid of it. It's gonna destroy our traditions and everything else.
But as our museum would teach you, the American Mint has never created a penny because the
Right.
penny is a British term
Okay.
that we literally fought a revolution to get rid of.
Okay.
So it's a cent. Yes.
Yes.
And so these are the types of things that this brings up.
Yeah.
And one of the things I bring up with that is, regardless of your politics, when it comes to money, everybody's a conservative. And this is one of the examples. We call a cent a penny. Why? Because we were a British colony and we called that lowest denomination a penny.
Pence.
So what people don't like is money that changes, that is worth less than what you think it is.
Okay.
So they're very conservative on that. And so that becomes an important element. Now, one of the things that people don't know is our own monetary history.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't realize we used to have a half cent. And in fact, the half cent was used for the first 50 some years, 60 years of our existence. And then we had a 20-cent coin. Some people may remember the Susan B. Anthony dollar.
Right.
I like the trime, which is a
Right.
3-cent coin.
Yeah.
So the penny is actually the 14th denomination that will be farewelled
Yeah,
by
yes.
the American monetary system.
And all for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like, so the Susan B. Anthony was designed to stand out from the quarter, except the mint didn't think it could make a 20-sided coin, which is what, if you look at that coin, it has 20 sides on the rim, inside rim. It was actually supposed to be the outside. So it got mistaken.
Okay.
Well, we had a 20-cent coin that disappeared in the 1860s after a very short time for the same reason. It looked just like a quarter.
Okay, got it.
So
Interesting. Okay, well, I appreciate learning about that, and I imagine that listeners will take a lesson there, and hopefully that'll give them a reason. Maybe you'll end up with an exhibit about pennies.
I mean, honestly, that
Yeah.
would be a wonderful exhibit. One of the things that I say, I will miss the penny for a couple of reasons. The first is the idioms. I love penny for your thoughts. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of find a penny, pick it up, and all the day you'll have good luck. I make my children pick them up because I don't want those germs, and they already have them. But I think that the penny also has a nostalgic aspect where it represents the lowest, it used to represent the lowest denomination, and therefore it's the most of the people. So if you look at what's always been featured on a penny,
Yeah.
if you're looking at the Abe Lincoln penny, why would he be so important? Well, he was fighting for the everyman, the lowest people in the
Yeah.
American stratus.
Interesting.
And so I
Yeah.
think looking at what that lowest denomination presents is really important. And historically, you can go across the board in many different denominations from across the world, and they're all like that. So the cent is a really great exhibit, and it sounds like we're gonna have to do it now, Doug.
Was she talking to you, Doug, or me, Doug?
No, that's a good point.
Yes.
Doug's.
That's good. That's it. All right. Well,
like it.
let me take a quick break here. And it's that time of year again that it's crafts and draft season. This year, we're honoring our dedicated pass holders with an exclusive secret society themed passport. Users have access to deals and discounts that they can earn points by redeeming at participating locations to put towards prizes. Download yours today at visit COS/passport and enjoy deals through the end of the year. Okay, so I told you both, Caroline and Doug, that as we get to the end, I've got 3 questions I'd like to ask all of our guests. And what I'll do is I'll take turns in letting someone answer it first, and then we'll rotate that you can answer it first. So, Caroline, let's start with you.
Okay.
And in just 3 words, how would you describe Colorado Springs?
Scenic. Let me think. Unexpected.
Okay.
Traditional.
Okay. So, Doug, those 3 words are off the board now.
Yes. Now I'm,
What would your 3 words be?
let's see. I love the mountains.
Okay,
So
so-
it's
Mountainous.
it's mountainous.
One word.
Right?
You can do it.
Accessible
Yes.
and friendly.
And friendly. Okay.
Yes.
That's great.
like it.
That's very, very good. We'll stay with you since you've lived here the longest, Doug. What is your favorite hidden gem in the Pikes Peak region? I mean, from down in Kansas City to Pikes Peak, what's your favorite hidden gem? The place that you like to go and it's your spot.
I grew up at high altitude, real high altitude. So I was actually at 10,000 feet, living in Bolivia for
Okay.
a while. So for me, Pikes Peak has always been something I like to go up to.
Sure.
I actually get up to that altitude, and maybe I'm 62 now, so not so much, but I feel at home.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Caroline, what would you say is your favorite hidden gem in the
Oh
region?
my goodness, that is a harder question for someone that hasn't been here nearly
Right,
as
I know.
long. I have 2 kids. They're 5 and 7 right now, and so I find the playgrounds of Colorado Springs to be hidden gems. So I'm going to be very
Yeah.
basic about it, but they are safe, they are clean, and they are all different, and they all have something special, and my kids know most by name, and depending on
Yeah.
their kind of play of the day and how they're feeling on a Saturday morning, they'll say, can we walk to this one?
Yeah.
Or can we drive over here with our bikes to this one?
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that they know them by name and they identify them so distinctly That is a hidden gem
I
of
love
Colorado
that.
Springs.
That's a great answer. All right, so this next question will stay with you, and this one might be easier since you've only lived here a couple of years.
Oh, thank
Because
God.
it's probably a little longer list. What do you have on your Colorado Springs bucket list?
Oh, it is longer then, isn't it?
Yeah, but just give us one, like
Okay.
one you just haven't done.
In Colorado Springs specifically. Okay. Well, we haven't done all the hikes, and I want to do Seven Falls.
You want to do Seven Falls? That's a great.
Let's do that answer.
That's a
I haven't done
great-
it yet.
Yep,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
great.
that's an awesome choice.
Yeah.
I know.
Yep.
But I'm not sure my kids can make it, and
Hard.
I'm not sure I want to take them. Not yet.
As you said, I've been around for 21 years
Yep.
here. I've gone to most places. One of the most interesting things that my wife and I did during COVID was discover places that we hadn't been to.
Right.
And
You're not answering the question, though. You're cheating. You're cheating.
yes, so I would like to be able to spend some more time in the mountains around, because we've done that a little bit, but we haven't really seen the places in detail that I would love to do.
Okay. Yeah. So,
So-
okay, that makes sense. All right. Well, I'll let maybe Caroline, you can maybe take the first stab at this one. But in closing, tell our listeners where they can find more information about the museum. And then, Doug, I'll just have you put a bow on why you think people should come.
That sounds more like my. No, I'm kidding. So the Money Museum here in Colorado Springs is available to go on our website at www.money.org. We made it easy.
Yep, money.org.
And then you can go over to the museum part of the page by just doing a dash Money Museum, or you can just click on Money Museum because the page itself is for the American Numismatic Association.
Okay.
We also have a Google business spot, so you can easily find us and get directions right to that lovely free parking lot that we have
Sure.
in the front. And I hope that you do come visit, because we do have a number of really special things. I talk about communing with the coins, but it is true that we have some items in our 275,000 artifacts that we have in the museum. We have some that are truly one of a kind that you will never be able to see anywhere else.
That's great. That's great. So, Doug, take us home.
So, I mean, it's an amazing place to visit. It's a destination if you're a collector, because we do have on display items that literally you cannot find anywhere else on display. But it's also, it's a discovery. It's an experience when you come see it, because if you have any interest at all in either money or history, you're going to find something that
culture,
will be
art, design.
surprising.
Yeah, sure.
And as well with cultural and science,
Cash.
all that stuff,
Go for
all
the
the
cash.
cash elements. But that's one of the things that when I talk to people as they're leaving, they're surprised, and almost always it's, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever the topic is, I had no idea, and that's something that, for me personally, is very rewarding. So I
What
think
would
it's a
you say
worthwhile.
when someone says, how much time should I allocate? You know, I've got two kids or whatever. What would you say is the time frame people should allocate to come to the Money
I
Museum?
would say a minimum of about 45 minutes to be able to just touch on everything.
Right.
But if you're looking to actually dive into something, you'll need at least 2 hours to really
Okay.
get a good sense of it.
And, and we've had expert collectors that have spent, one person in particular was in a wheelchair and spent 2 days
In one gallery.
In one gallery.
That's
I will also say that we are a Blue Star Museum, so for the summer months, we are free to military and their families, which is a great time to come and explore. I know there are a lot of people with kids
Yeah.
looking for something to do this summer.
that's great.
Let us
Especially-
help you out.
Especially every third Saturday, we're free to the general public.
Yes, we
and
are.
we have kids' activities. We actually have a program where kids can spend about an hour and a half learning about different aspects, how to make paper money,
Yeah.
things like that.
Awesome, good. Well, Doug Mudd, Caroline Turco, thank you for your time today, and I hope that our listeners will build this into their itineraries, whether you live here locally or you're coming to visit. plan to come by the Money Museum. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.